everyone, it's Lori with Behavior Education at Spirit Keeper Animal Sanctuary, and I have a Mesmer update for you. And if you're asking what's Mesmer or who's Mesmer, Mesmer is a 4-year-old Python Regis that we have here. He's been with us a little over 3 years. He is all white. He's a black-eyed leucistic. He's absolutely pristine and gorgeous, but he arrived very fearful. He arrived very averse to any type of human interaction, and he is one of the very few snakes here that we do not handle at all, because he has told us that it is so aversive to him and he is so fearful of human touch and interaction. We just work with him hands off. So he is target trained. He will come out of hiding. He will come out of his enclosure onto a scale. He uses his humid hide and he uses his other favorite hide. So it's easy to do enclosure maintenance when he's in a hide. It's easy to take him out in his humid hide and put him in an exercise tent. It's easy to feed him through target training and to manage his cage cleaning and his watering and feeding. It's not been a problem. He's very intelligent. He has just been one of the most fearful snakes we've ever interacted with. He will lunge, he will strike, he will hiss, he will fling himself away from people. He's landed upside down on the floor before. He's landed upside down in his water dish. He will freeze until he can't stand it anymore, and then he'll just explode. Tried initially to gradually desensitize him. It became very apparent that that just wasn't a good strategy for him, and so I turned to passive habituation, and I'm willing to do that for his life if that's what he needs. But now it's been about 3 years, 2.5 years, since I stopped trying to do anything purposefully and just do the target training and passive habituation with him. And he's in a very well-traveled area of our facility now, and he stays out now. Of course, he sleeps during the day for the most part in a hide, and he does come out to bask now. And he stays out all night, open and visible, and moves around his enclosure, and he's not hiding when people or other animals walk by. That's been going on now for at least a year. He's just less reactive in general to activity. And so last night I was feeding him, and he targeted mostly out onto a scale, and he was eating his mouse, and he eats mice or rats. I think he's eaten quail. He's a good eater. He had this really dark black spot on his face, and I was like, what is that? Because he is pristinely white. Know if it was some kind of mite or tick or bug, or if it was just a piece of substrate. And I thought about leaving it, but I got so paranoid about what it might be that I took a chance. And when he was done eating and he was still sitting on the scale, I carefully sort of put a hand on him with a towel covering it. Or an oven mitt. It was an oven mitt. And I took some long tweezers and I rubbed his face where the mark was, and it came off. So I think it was just dirt. And he was fearful, but he didn't strike. He didn't launch himself forward. He kind of hunkered back down into a little ball and tried to hide his head. But then I let him sit there and he relaxed. And then I actually, when he started to go back into his enclosure on his own, picked him up mid-body and let his body go through my oven mitted hand while he went back into his enclosure. He did go back in his hide, but within 10 minutes, he was back out of his hide and sitting back at the front door looking, wondering if he was gonna maybe get seconds for a meal. So this made me happy. He was scared, he was fearful, he was tense, he was exhibiting yellow zone behaviors, but he didn't tip over threshold this time. He didn't tip over into the red zone. where he was hissing and striking and lunging and flying through the air away from our interaction. This was a big improvement. So I'm not taking him out now. I'm not going to mess with him now for a really long time. And I wanted to just share that story with those of you who have followed his story for the last 3 years to tell you patience is paying off. Passive habituation is paying off. Target training as the only active engagement I have with him is paying off. And I was able to get this little speck of whatever it was off of his face last night without any major distress for either of us. Everybody, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, please remember to always be kind and love your animals.